this is a new voice to you. Well, if you've been around a while, you know I'm Haylee, and I am the producer of So Here's the Thing with Laylee Emadi. And I'm here with Laylee, and I'm going to be interviewing her today. Laylee, welcome to your show.
Thanks. I'm so happy to be here. I'm actually really nervous. It's fine.
No, you're good. This is, if you know, we have a tradition of doing a little recap of the conference every year, and this is our third time doing it. So welcome to the third annual post-conference recap episode. I feel like we have so much to reference in years past and what has happened in year 3. So first things first, can you give us just a little overview of what the conference was like this year, what your initial post-conference feelings are, and what you're excited for in this episode?
Ooh, well, I'll start with I'm excited to have you take charge because I am so tired. Honestly, that's probably the emotions post-conference for me are always I was on the highest of highs for a week, basically straight between prep, setup, people coming in, being surrounded by some of my favorite people in the world, new and established friendships. And it's just so exhilarating. And then I kind of crash for on the Educators Lounge call today, I was telling everybody it was my first call, it wasn't my first day back in the office, but it was the first day I felt like myself back in the office. So I think the main feeling I had was a little bit of, I'm not going to lie, I get a little blue. I get some of the blues. I get a little depresso. I'm not going to lie about it. I miss my people. I'm really drained and exhausted, but I'm also did that just even happen? Did I black out? Did I miss it? I'm a slow processor in a fast processing world. I am a slow processor in a world where recap videos go out on the first day, second day, the day people get back. And I'm still over here I'm still thinking about the conversation I had at happy hour. At the welcome event. It's going to take me a while. So that was my jumbled answer of I feel all the feelings. I'm excited about this episode. It's my first day back in office, and I'm really excited that you're leading the charge because I feel like I'm always an open book, but I feel like when I'm tired, I'm not holding back. We're going to be
all
real
walls
honest.
come down.
Yeah.
No, I have very similar feelings, especially this year. I know last year flew by for me, and I talked about on last year's episode of all the travel issues I had. And then this year I ran into travel issues again. But
there's a curse. I swear.
there is a curse. I'm coming in early next year. I've already decided, we've made a plan. But it feels like there's not enough time in a day. And despite the fact that we are there for 3.5 days, there's still not enough time to actually connect with all the people you want to connect with, especially when you're having such deep and intentional conversations. It's okay, I can connect with 4 really solid people and have great conversations, but I want to connect with all 100 people that are here because it's such a great community of people. Yeah. So yeah, I get that. And then still processing all the conversations you've had because it's going by too fast.
Yeah, 100%.
I want to talk about this year in particular. What were some of the biggest changes or what you would call upgrades from previous years at this year's conference?
So I definitely keep the bones the same, if that's the right way to phrase that. I keep the general things that people love the same every year. I'm somebody who finds a lot of comfort in knowing what I'm walking into. And I think a lot of people coming to conferences are the same way. So a lot of the structure stayed the same, but we did change a lot of little things around the schedule, incorporating even more time for those connections, for networking, but networking that is guided. I think open, quote unquote, networking versus intentional connection are 2 very different things. And we try really hard to have the conference be a place where you're actually connecting, not just networking. And so we did structure that into the schedule. We brought in some returning sponsors, some new sponsorships, which was really interesting and again intentional. Like everything we do is really just to serve the best interest of the attendees. Other things that we changed. Well, the swag gets an upgrade every year. I mean, honestly, you know me, I'm such a consumer. It's really not great. I love things. I buy the things I design and choose for the conference are things that I would love to be gifted myself. And I almost it's funny, somebody at the conference said this and I took it with me. One of the attendees said, stop calling it swag. This isn't swag. This is very intentional gifting of merchandise that you've poured your heart and soul into. And I was like, you're so right. Because what I did this year was all year long, I've basically been accumulating different pieces of gifts. And when the conference came and we were in setup day, I was like, well, just put everything out the first day. I ended up with so much more stuff than I thought that I was giving people. And it was all really good stuff. So anyway, I'm talking too much about the merch, but I really loved that because to me, it's not about the thing necessarily. It's the thought I put in behind the thing that I gave.
Yeah. Would you mind sharing? There's two particular items I'm thinking of, the bracelet and the lens cleaner, the design on it. Will you share a little bit about where that came from and why it was so intentional for you?
Yeah, absolutely. Last year, I handmade friendship bracelets for every attendee, which was, I hand make a lot of things because I really love the connection that I feel through it. But so I knew I wanted to do some kind of wearable gift again. And this year, the conference fell at the end of March, beginning of April, the Persian New Year. So I'm Iranian. I was born in Iran. And we celebrate the Persian New Year in our culture. And it was just a week and a half before the conference. So I gifted everybody an evil eye bracelet. And I wrote this custom card that explained what it was for, what the purpose is, what the vision was behind it. And just wished everybody, honestly, a happy new year. Because while it is the Persian New Year, it's also the spring equinox. So spring being a fresh time to have I love a fresh start in business. Every Monday to me is exciting because I'm ooh, fresh start. So really leaning into that I think was special on so many levels. It was also really special to me because I struggled a lot over the past probably 12 years or however long I've been in business now. Yeah, 12 years, crazy. I struggled a lot in the first maybe decade of really embracing the things that made me different and the things that made me, just not like everybody else. And I think leaning more into that has been a challenge, but a really beautiful challenge. And so being able to share that with people who are really special to me, every single conference attendee is so special to me, and being able to give them a little slice of home was really cool. And then the design on the lens, I have it with me if you're watching this on YouTube. Sarah Erickson of Sarah Ann Design did our custom. She does our custom branding every year. She does all my branding. And she incorporated a lot of spring things into this, butterflies, but also pomegranates, which are, again, a nod to my Persian heritage. And just everything was just so, I felt really personalized from me to the people who were sitting in the audience, because I want them to know how special they are to me. We shouldn't have done this so close to the conference. I'm getting emotional, but everybody is so special to me. And I just, being able to incorporate that in gifts and in the brand was really cool.
I didn't think we'd get into this early into the conversation, but speaking of leaning into you and your identity, do you want to share your news with the audience? I don't think by the time this airs, it's going to be actively changed, but...
Yes, I will tell my people. I will give my secrets away. Anybody who listens to this is Laylee doesn't know what a secret is. We are changing the podcast name. It's actually I'm really glad you're here for this, Haylee, because as my producer from day one, it's kind of wild. But so Haylee and I started this podcast side by side in what year was it?
2019.
2019. And so, being 6 years ago, there were a heck of a lot less podcasts out there, and there were really no other podcasts with the name So Here's the Thing. And it's something I say a lot when I'm coaching. I say a lot every day when I'm keeping it real. I'm so here's the thing. And that's when Laylee's about to get real, Ew, I hate when people refer to themselves in the third person, but we're going to pretend that didn't happen. But you know what I mean? So I loved the name. It was actually chosen by Sarah, who again is my brand designer and brand strategist. And I loved it, but now it's it's kind of hard to find me if you're new to me. And two, I feel that I've evolved and my business has evolved and my coaching and education has evolved past something really general, like general entrepreneurship. And I really do primarily work with speakers and educators. And so I was looking for something to convey that. And at the conference, multiple people, and after the conference even, people who have coached me, people who know me, they were like, you just need to use your name. So that's a hint. That's a hint as to what's coming. So I'm excited. It's definitely forcing me. I'm definitely taking up the challenge that I challenged everybody at the conference too, to like join me in this search for exploring what makes us different and being okay with sharing that in our personal brands. And so that you'll be seeing that in the next couple weeks here on the show.
Yay. I'm excited to just kind of see it level up. Like, it just, this direction you're taking it, the pivots and the changes you've made in your business have come so far since the first episode. Like, it's wild to look back and think that was 6 years ago.
Oh my gosh.
Like 6 years ago next month.
Insane.
Wild.
Insane.
Okay. Now, what is something that you are most proud of from this year's conference? It doesn't have to be most proud of, but like the first thing that comes to your mind.
I think the first thing that comes to mind is I'm honestly really proud to have built a community that's so kind to one another, that's so generous with one another. And that is, we feel, I think, as community leaders and community builders and speakers, educators, whatever it is that you call yourself, we feel like so much of that is out of our control. But I truly think that if you are putting out there what you're wanting to receive, that it will show up. And I've always been really clear and really open that I want a generous and kind leadership community. And that can be hard because when you have industry leaders, there are things as people with too much ego, or people who don't want to humble themselves, or people who don't want to help and they just want to gatekeep. And I am very, very grateful and proud to say that our community isn't like that. And that is 100% because of the people who are in it. So I'm really proud of them, and I'm proud of us as a group.
I'm sitting here thinking about everything that you did build in the community that was there. If you could go back to the first night of the conference, like after the welcome party, right before you're about to kick off year 3, what is something you would tell yourself as encouragement going into it that maybe you didn't feel that night, but you needed to hear?
I think I would tell myself, trust that the right people are in this room. Like, trust that you did your best to attract the right person, that the right person will be in the room, and that like attracts like, and don't have a fear of, I really hope people come ready to give and ready to receive and ready to put themselves out there, because it happens every year. And I used to think like, oh, I'm so lucky in the first year. And then I was like, how did I get so lucky in the second year? And now I'm like, okay, clearly something is coming together. Like, I just need to trust. I just need to trust that the right people are going to show up and they're going to have the exact right experience for them. I wish I could have told myself that, because that's the thing that I always feel like is so far out of my control.
And I think too, that is something that we as attendees also need to be aware of, is you get out of a conference or any in-person event what you put into it. Like, what are you going into it trying to get out of it? Is it the education? Is it the networking? Is it the community? Find that one particular thing and go all in on that. But be open to, like, I've learned this so much over the years going to events, that you might go in with one idea of what your goal is, and then it shifts once you get there, and it's okay to embrace that. Just don't, like, say you're going for networking and the wrong people are in the room that you're in, or you're going for education and it's like, okay, this isn't the education I thought I was going to get, but still embrace it. Mm-hmm. So yeah, I can see the value in needing to hear that and know that. But I also want to give that encouragement to the attendees of like, you can also control what this looks like for you.
Yeah, I feel like that is something we tend to what did I remember I did an episode once about this, about like the responsibility of the consumer.
Yeah.
And it is, I mean, it's a two-way street. Like I can do my very best, but you got to do a little bit of your best too. But yeah.
Yeah. Amazing. Okay. In regards to the things that are happening on stage, one thing that I realized we have never really talked about in, well, the last 2 episodes that we've done post conference is the lightning talks. Can you explain to the listeners what the purpose of these are, why you decided to start hosting them, where they came from?
Yeah, oh my gosh, I am obsessed with lightning talks, and I'm surprised we haven't talked about it before, but I came up with the idea of lightning talks before the conference was ever a thing, honestly. I didn't call them that. I think that was just like, I asked around, was like, someone help me name this talk. But essentially, it's like, I think about my prior experience in life as an actual educator, as a teacher, and so much of what I taught was, essentially like a practicum. It was getting that critique. If you think about people who went to school for art or school, like whatever official schooling you might have had, for me it was like dance, and you're getting critiqued. For me, with my speaking coaching students, I constantly make them film themselves, send them to me, and I critique them. And I realize like there really isn't a place where people in our industry are getting that opportunity. There are people who charge to speak. I have feelings about that. I don't love that. Obviously, I charge for the lightning talks because it sets them up with critique from not only myself as a speaking coach, other speakers, the audience. They get film, they get photo, and it's 5 minutes, and they get one-on-one time with me. So it's essentially coaching with an outcome. And I think it's so beautiful in so many ways. One, the audience is learning, because at our event in particular, I don't think this works for every event. So if you're out here thinking like, could this work for my event? Not to coach you guys, but like, it doesn't work for every event. It works for ours because the people in the audience also need to learn how to become great speakers. So they're going to learn from the mistakes of the people who are practicing. They're going to learn from the delivery of the people who are practicing. And then they're going to also develop their skill of critique and of critical thinking, so that when they're watching themselves back eventually, then they can critique themselves. So it really is such like a win-win-win for everyone. And I love it. I limit the number. I mean, I only have room in our schedule for 3 a day, 3 5-minute talks a day. That was quite a ramble, but I'm really, in case you can't tell, I'm really passionate about it, because I feel like, generally speaking, in our world of online business ownership, especially in education, we skip steps. And I think a huge step for speakers is practice. And I know that there's only so many places that you can practice, but if I can provide one, I'm happy to be able to do so.
Amazing. For those that don't know, at Gaffin Creative's booth at the conference, we have people come over and share, a little bit about their experience at the event, or they ask Laylee a question. So it's an opportunity for them to record a testimonial of some kind for Laylee. And we actually had a lightning talk speaker from last year share the wins she has had in her business because of this lightning talk. So take a listen to Angelica Pompey.
Hi, my name is Angelica Pompey. I'm the owner of Angelica Pompey Education. And Laylee has made such a huge impact in my educational journey as a speaker, as an educator. And I am so grateful for the space that she has created, the community. Last year in 2024, I came as a attendee, and I opted into a lightning speech talk opportunity that she was giving the attendees. And that right there propelled my business. I was able to use the content of photo and video on my speaker page. Fast forward to 2025, between January and April, I have 10 speaking engagements, and all of them paid or sponsored. And I am forever grateful for the community that she's created. I love the space that she created in the Educator Lounge, just being with your peers. And what makes this community different than any other community, it is high-level business owners that are wanting to support each other and just cheer each other on. Like, doing life alone is not the way to do it. Find your peers, find your community, and if you're looking to be a speaker, an educator to any caliber, this is the space for you.
All right. What is one piece of feedback that you have gotten from attendees that has stuck with you, whether it was year one and you've continued to implement it, or maybe it's something from this year that you are going to continue in future productions of the conference?
One piece of feedback. I get a lot of feedback. I ask for a lot of feedback and I get a lot of it. One piece of feedback that I think I got the first year was just the value that there was in the audience and how carving out that intentional time was so important. And I think sometimes as event hosts and as educators, we really want to fill the space. We want to fill that container up to the very brim. And we fear space and time in the schedule. And I think this year in particular, we had one of our speakers wasn't able to attend because they had like an emergency. And me 2 years ago, I probably would have panicked and been like, what am I going to do? But because of the feedback that I had gotten and that I'd implemented into our schedule, I was like, oh, no worries. Like, we'll reallocate her time to additional hot seat time and everybody wins. And then of course she's luckily and thankfully she's doing her session virtually. So we still get her education, but it really did it made it to where I was like, okay, I have to remember that the biggest piece of feedback I get is the value of the people sitting next to you, not just the people that you're looking up at on the stage.
Hi, I'm Hannah McGinty, and I am the educator for Booked by Strategy. Last year when I came to the conference, I had zero brain cell dedicated to being an educator. I was literally just going because a friend who was going into labor invited me. She couldn't, go. She's like, hey, Hannah, I think you'd be really good as a speaker someday, but so you should go to this conference. And I was like, well, I'm free. I'll go. Right. And it gave me the tools to consider being an educator and how amazing it would be for my business to add education on it as not just like a side thing, but like as a whole other business, right? So now, fast forward a year and a few months later, I have my course. I am making a live workshop and I am already helping like students with testimonials. And it's just so cool to be able to do this and to just really attribute that success of even starting the course to Laylee and her conference here at the Creative Educator Conference. So it's just so cool to see like from then to now what has been accomplished. And Laylee, just really want to thank you for pushing me to do something new and fun and creative. All right. Bye.
All right. Once again, lobby chats this year were a hit. What is something that stood out to you this year in particular?
Oh my gosh, late night lobby chats are the joy of my life. They are everything to me. I am obsessed with this crazy little thing that started as an idea. This year, I think the biggest thing that stood out was one, every year people stay later and later. Two, it is like you said at the beginning, it's so hard because there's so many amazing conversations happening all around you and you like don't know which one to join. Something that stood out to me this time was I was like, I'm just going to sit and whatever happens around me, that's the conversation that's meant for me and meant for me to be a part of and to hopefully be able to give to the person that needs it. And the other thing I think that really stood out with the late night lobby chats were how many speakers and sponsors and staff member, like people who don't have to be there and who are not they're not attendees who are like trying to soak up every minute. They were trying to soak up every minute. Like they were there and they're there every year, but I don't know. There was something about it this year where I was like, oh, they're literally all here. Like it's grown and become like such a big part of the experience. And it always has been for me, but I feel like people get it now,
Yeah. Every year I've gone to the lobby chats and I'm an introvert and I tend to go towards the people I know. So this year I was like, I'm going to go sit next to someone I've never spoken to. And so I said hi to the people I knew. And then I was like, oh, there's a seat over here. And I left. And I'm so glad I did. It got me out of my comfort zone. I talked to a few people I had never met before. And I would just encourage you, maybe choose one of the late night lobby chat nights to do that and just use that time to meet new people. Because when you're at the conference, we are all in business mode. Mm-hmm. You're talking business. You don't get to know someone. But late night lobby chats is everyone's brain is kind of fried.
Yeah.
And then you get to know someone on like a personal level and not just like, oh, what do you do for business? Like, what's the coolest thing you've done recently outside of your work? You know, those kind of conversations. And I really, really love that.
I do too. I feel like it's such an organic way to, like you said, to connect deeply. But it also, the other cool thing I noticed was people be talking about like their dating escapades or like their kids doing crazy things, and then it would lead to, of course, because we're all entrepreneurs, it would lead to like clarity in their business somehow or in their next offer. And I was watching that unfold. I watched like 3 people come up with podcast ideas in the lobby, and I was like, okay, like
We love to hear it.
I know. It was just, but it was so organic. And I was like, this is what people come here for. Like, I get it. You're equipped with all of the knowledge from the day, and it's like sparking your brain. So even when you go off topic, the back of your brain is still working. Like, it's still like, actually, this is a great idea for my next course, you know?
Yes, that's so true, because I even got into a conversation with someone about, they were talking about wanting to go and spend more time in hobbies, but they didn't know what hobbies to go for. And I was like, oh, well, I recently started crocheting again, and I started going to a bowling league. And so every Tuesday night I go bowl. And they were like, a bowling league? And I was like, yes, you should try it. So they're maybe possibly going to join a bowling league.
As
I
they
hope they will.
should.
Yeah.
I mean, you're the bowling queen, though.
It's fun. And judge me all you want, but it is so much fun.
I will never judge that. It's awesome.
Okay, this was your first year hosting the conference since launching the Educators Lounge. What did that feel like?
Yeah, I didn't think it would feel any different, but it definitely did. I think the biggest part wasn't even at the conference, weirdly enough. I feel like today we had our first Educators Lounge call since the conference a couple weeks ago. And there were a few people on the call who weren't able to come, but everyone else was like so much more, like they were excited to see each other, to reunite. They knew more about one another so they could help each other more and more quickly. And just like that level of comfort. And it actually reminded me, now that you say that, I hadn't thought about this. So like you're seeing my light bulb moment in real time. But I started, the vision for the conference came in 2018 when I was creating the Creative Educator Academy. And that was the foundational, that was like my first signature program, which is now not open at the moment. But it was like supposed to be the reunion for that. And then obviously COVID and everything. And I still went ahead with the conference. And so now it's kind of like I'm seeing the initial feeling that I had come into fruition in real time. So it's actually really cool. And a bunch of people unexpectedly, I don't, you know how I am. I don't really love pitching from a stage or whatever. I'm like, you're already here. Like, let's just go for it. But so many people were like joining the lounge when they were talking to each other. And it made me excited, not just to have them join it, but to have them, again, they've established these connections and now they have somewhere to hang out all year. And like, it's such a low price, like it's like stupid low. Like if I was my own coach, I'd be like, you should raise that price. Actually, my coach has told me to raise that price. But all that being said, it's like, it's just beautiful. I just feel like it really makes it feel like more of an ongoing community instead of a one-off, like a one-time only kind of deal.
Yeah. And as a member of the lounge, I even got to connect with people that I had never met in person, which was really fun. And I even was talking to Haylee Romero, and we were talking about how like we probably wouldn't have had a conversation at the event had we not known each other from the lounge. And so as we got to talking, I was like, I need you to record something for Laylee's podcast. So here's what Haylee had to say.
Hi, this is Haylee from Cutting Edge Financial Solutions. I am a business finance consultant and a fractional CFO. I help 6-figure business owners manage, master, and multiply their cash flow. And I am here at the Creative Educator Conference, and I am absolutely loving it. Part of being in the Creative Educator Conference was also being part of Laylee's membership, the Creative Lounge, and being part of that has been just so rewarding. It's being able to be in a room, even though it has been virtual, it's just being able to be in that place and getting to know so many people. It has been great. One of the biggest things that I was just wondering about coming into the conference was, will I know people? Will I feel left out? And that has not been the case. It has been so welcoming. It has been so great. And being part of the membership at first has been so great to know people that are already in that virtual room. And now being able to say, oh, I know you from the virtual room, from the membership, and just getting to know people in person, like real life friends that I am making connections with. I have made more connections in the conference in 3 hours than I have made in 3 years online. So if you're thinking about it, I would absolutely recommend. It is one of the biggest investments that I have made, but it's also one of the most like just satisfying and impactful investments. Laylee and her education has really helped me just kind of get out of my box and get out of like just my thinking and being able to really take my knowledge and my expertise just so much further than I could have ever thought.
Now, in regards to your actual team that was helping, we have seen all of the support you've gotten behind the scenes. You always shout them out during the conference, but is there something that you've learned over the years, especially after year 3, of like what you need in place in a team and support system?
Gosh, I've learned a lot about team during this, but I think having a good, clear idea of who is doing what, like what role is each staff member taking is really important. I really enjoyed this year having like a right-hand person who was kind of like the go-to not between me and everybody else, but they could have been. You know what I mean? Like if I'm not available, I know they're going to know what they're doing because she's been with me planning it, for however many months and a full year beforehand. And so I think that was really valuable. I think having like a clear plan in place, giving people really clear timelines on what needs to be done at what time. And then of course, like, I have a tradition of taking the team out for the whole staff, and if they're local, their significant others or whatever can come, and we all go out to dinner. And I thank them, but I'm also like, it's a good time to remind each other, like, okay, it's about to get kind of crazy. Like setup's gonna get crazy, things are gonna go wrong, tensions are gonna be high, people are gonna snap at each other, feelings might get hurt. But at the end of the day, like we'll forget all that as soon as the happy hour starts. So like, let's just move forward. And so I think surrounding yourself with the right people who won't let any of that really impact them negatively, and they're quick to like let it go, or quick to help out, or quick to jump in. Those are the right people to have by your side. Emotions run high because you care, and that's if everybody is feeling high emotions, it just means everyone on the team really cares.
Oh, so true. All right. What is one unpopular opinion you have this year about hosting an in-person conference?
It's not for everyone. Is that bad to say? Like, I don't know.
No.
I truly think that, whether it's bad to say or not, it's just the truth. It's like every type of education or community building is not for everyone. It is not for the faint of heart. It is something you have to really love and be passionate about. It has to be something you're willing to take criticism on as well as praise. I feel like there's a reason that a lot of my feedback, and I say this like not at all as like pat on the back, but it's more so just like, okay, this makes sense, that people will say, I've never had an experience like this. And to me, I don't see anything different. Like I don't see necessarily all the time. Sometimes I do, but sometimes I don't think anything I'm doing is special or out of the ordinary. But then I attend things, or I hear people's stories of attending things, and I'm like, oh, maybe that's not that person's strong suit. Mm-hmm. Sometimes you don't know till you try. But I will say, I think that that's probably an unpopular opinion I have, is in the same way I think not every platform of speaking is right for every speaker. I also think not every person with a community needs to have this type of in-person event.
They could take a hint out of your playbook, and like, you did not start with a conference. You have been hosting smaller in-person events for years and years and years. Yeah. And like, I don't think anyone should start with a conference if you're looking to do it at this scale. Like, no.
No, you're totally right. And I think even I sometimes forget, my first workshop was like in 2015. So I did like workshops for a long time, then retreats, and then this. So it's not, yeah, absolutely not. Like I already had a lot of the systems in place.
Yeah. And I think what the attendees say about what you have built, it speaks such volumes to what you have created and the experience you have. So let's hear from Meredith, because she had some nice things to say.
I'm Meredith McKenzie. This is my first time at the Creative Educators Conference, and I quite honestly stalked the event for a couple years coming into this. So excited and happy to be here, and it did not disappoint. The biggest thing that I've taken away is, quite honestly, I've been to so many events, learned so many things, and sometimes you just feel like, what else is there for me to learn? Like, am I just going to hear the same thing reiterated in a different way? And quite honestly, it has not been like that at all. From the very first, keynote speaking, it has just been like little ideas that I'm like, oh yeah, that's great. That's great. Hearing from Jen Olmsted about doing our marketing rather than a funnel as a loop. And then as the days have gone on, taking little pieces together that, quite honestly, about like an hour ago, it was fireworks going off in my brain, realizing how everything was going to come together. And I started actually making a little web for myself of what's the next step and how am I going to take this home and use it. And I'm really excited for the new content plan that I have for myself and how I'm going to start marketing my course and my business in a way that I think feels very authentic to me, that is not salesy or yucky or anything uncomfortable. So I'm just very excited. And thank you so much, Laylee, for putting on such a fantastic event.
Looking ahead, what dreams do you have for the 2026 Creative Educator Conference?
It's funny because every year, like the team, the staff, and the conference crew, they're all like, here's an idea for next year. And they're like, oh, but I know you don't want to hear it yet. And I'm like, yeah, give me a minute. And then the next day, I'm like, tell me everything. I honestly, I have a lot of visions, and I feel like I need to sit down and really decide which direction to take, because some of them are definitely contradicting. One thing I know for sure is, well, I'm like, well, I can't give everything away. Well, we are doing the same venue and hotel. That was a very big decision for me. I was very torn about that, but everybody loved it so much, and it was just such an inspiring and motivating space, and a comfortable space, and it's just like, it's good for everyone. So we're keeping it there. The other plans I have for 2026, I really I'm very, very opinionated on speakers need to be changed up. I never have a speaker more than 2 years in a row. They can maybe take a break and come back one day, but I switch up the speakers. Even if we have a returning speaker, it's a different topic. So I'm working through that right now of like, what topics do people really need? What recurring questions came up during this event, while trying not to put anything in stone because we've got a full calendar year. So,
Yeah. Amazing. If someone is on the fence today about attending next year, what would you want them to know?
One, I want you to know that I'm always happy to talk about it with you, because it is so in my best interest, not just yours, to have the right people there. So I'll never tell you to come if I don't think you should, which that was something I took away from the conference, from the attendees at the conference, was something they really valued. Was some of them I've dissuaded from other programs I've done, and they were like, I really love when you told me not to take this at this moment. So I will never tell someone to be there that I truly don't believe needs to be. Two, I would say talk to somebody who's already attended. They're going to tell you way better than I will, probably, their experience. And the third thing I'll say, and this is a little bit of like, let me toot our horn, like at the collective community, we're already about halfway sold out for next year.
Ooh.
in 2 days. We did a quick 48-hour pre-sale, and between the people in the room and the people at home who didn't make it, we're about 50% capacity. So if you're on the fence, think about it before we reopen doors to registration, because I have a feeling it's going to go pretty quickly, and that's quite an honor for me for sure, but also speaks volumes, I think, to the people who are there.
Amazing. Now I want to run through a little rapid fire.
Okay.
And these are just kind of silly but fun, just to wrap up this episode.
Okay.
So, first things first, what was the best food or snack that you had during your conference?
Oh my gosh, the food is so good. I think about the food all the time. Okay, I think my favorite this year was the fajitas.
Ooh.
Yeah, it was the steak fajita I had. was dope.
Interesting. I loved the Mediterranean food both
That was
years.
this is my favorite.
This year and last year. I like dreamed about it all year long and was so happy when it was there.
So good.
Okay, a song that could have been the theme of the week.
Well, we had a song that was the theme of the week. It sounds silly. We had that everybody dance now. That was like definitely it. No, I think maybe, is there a song about like, I don't know, man. Oh, maybe, this is kind of cheesy, but I'm going to say it anyway. This Is Me from Greatest Showman.
Oh, yes.
I think that could have been it. Like, I feel like so many people, not just about, this isn't like just me. I feel like so many people really stepped into like their power and their personality and their genuine, authentic selves in that room. And that was really cool to watch.
I feel like you need to drop a reel that's like a bunch of footage from the event when you promote this episode, and it's that song on it.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That actually reminds me, I'm like breaking out of rapid fire for a second. We didn't talk about the dancing that we did this year.
Oh, yeah.
You added, because you haven't done that before, right?
Not here, not at the conference, because if I'm being honest, I thought people would like hate me or make fun of me. I like I said, I really am trying to lean so much more into what makes me different. And I've been a dancer my whole life. My assistant, Samantha, who was my right-hand gal at this conference, I met her because she auditioned for my dance team when she was in the 8th grade. Like, dance is so important to me. But beyond that, I use so much of movement and dance in my teachings. And I think, I mean, I know actually, like scientifically, it's a fact that people bond more quickly and they feel more energized and they feel more focused when there is movement and music. I know one of our attendees, Erin Perkins, she commented in the Facebook group, she was like, I'm deaf, I can't hear the music, and I still loved the dancing. Like, there's something about it. And I've taught many deaf students over the years as a dance teacher. And so I just think there's something about it, you know, that really fires people up and gets them bonded quickly, gets them out of their comfort zone, makes you take up space, makes you have energy. And again, like for me personally, it was just another little piece of myself that I could share that was really important to me and that I could share with people who are now really important to me.
Yeah. And you even had like a whole choreographed dance thing that made it easy for us to be able to dance, because I'm not a dancer. I know
You did great.
But it made it easy for me to want to be a part of it. And I know even the people that were uncomfortable in dancing, like they still did it. We still had a great time. We laughed the whole time. Like we laughed at our own discomfort. Yeah. So like if you're not a dancer, it's still fun. Like I had a blast.
You don't have to, nobody like really, no one's watching you dance. You just, you know,
we're all dancing.
A really quick, it was like a quick little energy boost for everybody. Yes. My, you know, like my 9-year-old nephew visited and he got on stage, and if he could do it, anybody can do it.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. What's one word to describe how you felt walking off the stage on the final day?
One word. I think fulfilled. Yeah. I just really felt like I did everything that was in my power to create an environment where people could really walk away feeling amazing. And I hope that they did. And I felt like I did my job as best as I could. And I felt like just really in my own purpose in that moment.
Now, final question. Who inspired you this year at your conference?
I mean, I feel like every person I spoke to inspired me. And the people that I didn't get to like have one-on-ones with, I've been trying to like follow up with them like one-on-one through like DMs and email and stuff like that. But every person I had a conversation with, they had inspiring stories, motivating things to share. Just like every person I spoke to was an inspiration in their own right. And my speakers are always incredible, and they're always so amazing with their content and their clarity and the workshops they take you through, and they're going to help you get from point A to point B. But the stories that I heard from every attendee, I think that's what sits with me as inspiration.
Beautiful. Okay.
It's typically so serious. I'm like, they're inspiring to me.
Typically, we end this podcast with an unpopular opinion, but we already talked about that. So I would love for you to share one piece of encouragement for someone who is just starting their maybe education journey or speaker journey and what that looks like. And yeah, what's your encouragement to them?
I think my biggest encouragement was actually, this is like maybe the easiest question you've asked me that I was like not prepared for. I think my opening talk this year was all about the power and patience and how we generally, because of not only the structure of our online society, but also we are established business owners who have had success. And so we expect success and results very quickly as speakers and educators. And so my biggest piece of encouragement and advice is to keep going, to weather the storm of a slower growth journey and understand that what you see online and what you see other people experiencing when it comes to success, you're not seeing the full story and how long it took them. So I would just say my biggest encouragement is keep going and don't give up if it's something that's important to you.
I loved that talk. Literally, you came over after and I was like, I needed to hear that.
We all need to hear that. I need to hear that.
Yeah. Yes. Probably one of my favorite talks I've ever seen you give. Like, it was so good. Like, you should be pitching that one for sure. All right. Well, if someone wants to buy a ticket to next year, when can they expect for those tickets to go on sale?
We usually release, I want to say 6 to 8 months out, but join the wait list. Just go to creativeeducatorconference.com and you can join the wait list and you'll get an email the second that we open doors.
Yay.
Yay.
Thank you so much for letting me interview you today. And
Thank you. This was so much more fun. I was like really nervous because I didn't know, but I loved it. I felt like every question was such an easy answer.
Yay. Awesome. Well, we will see you all next week in another episode.
Yeah. Bye.